On the next McDougall MD, the benefits of omega-3 oils.
And I'll be talking to a guy who used to weigh over 500 pounds.
Join us right here.
This is Hello Channel.
Is omega-3 the magic bullet for long life and good health? Our guest today is one of the world's leading experts on the benefits of omega-3 oils and how they can help keep you healthy. And later, we'll talk with one of our favorite people, a stand-up comic who used to weigh 560 pounds. I'm Mary McDougall, and you're watching McDougall MD. Hey, John.
Yeah.
What have we got today?
Well, let's see. You look awful happy. I don't know whether I should bring this subject up because you do look so happy.
Oh,
but
yes.
a lot of folks out there aren't. A lot of folks are suffering from depression.
Yes.
Or just the blues. You know, their day isn't going as well as it should be, and they can't figure out why. You know, they got nice spouse, nice kids, good job, enough money to pay the bills, and yet the whole day is kind of blue, and they just don't understand what the reason is. There are some reasons, and it's not an antidepressant pill deficiency. We've got to get that straightened out first, although a lot of people think it is, and a lot of doctors do too.
And they'll prescribe them. But there are some natural ones too. I'd like to ask you about those.
There are natural ones. There are natural ones. But I want to talk to you first about a common cause of depression that has been worked out in journals or published in journals such as the American Journal of Psychiatry, and that is too much sleep.
Too much sleep.
Too much sleep. Now, we're taught that 8 hours is ideal and more is even better. And so we try and get that. But for many people, in fact, most people, particularly adults, 8 hours may be too much.
Too much.
Now, if you're pregnant or you're sick or you're a child, then 8 hours or even more might be indicated. But when you try and get 8 hours of sleep, you may end up getting too much sleep, and as a result, you may be getting depressed. Now, the way they figured this out is they found people who were very, very depressed. In fact, they were to the point of suicide. If they would skip a night of sleep, the next day their depression would be gone. And then they did studies.
A complete whole night of sleep.
Whole night sleep. Total sleep deprivation for a night. So then they did studies where they took people, large groups of people who had severe depression, again, sometimes to the point of wanting to kill themselves. And they would keep them up one night, and by the end of that one night of sleep depression, by the next day, a depressogenic substance was washed out of their system, and 70% of them had complete relief of their depression.
Now that's amazing.
It is amazing.
I've never heard that
but
one.
Think about it. I don't know whether you can relate to this or not, but think about it. Do you ever feel like on the weekends when you get that extra hour of sleep that you're a little more blue?
Sometimes you're a little bit more tired.
A little more sluggish and so on.
I think it's also the kind of sleep you get too. I mean, if you're getting real good rest and deep REM sleep, it's better. But a lot of people have such sleep disorders that they probably try and stay in bed longer and get that extra bit of sleep. How about
the times when you worked really hard on TV shoots and you only got 3-4 hours of sleep at night? Did you get kind of giddy?
Oh yeah.
See, you can go in the other direction. You can
get punchy.
So you can use sleep. You can kind of use it to change your mood. You want to be a little more manic, you get a little less sleep. You want to be a little more depressed, yeah, you get a little more sleep. But it's a great tool. I had this one woman call me one time when I was doing a radio show, and she said, you know, I have this great family, but I cast this terrible shadow over them because of my depression. It's ruined my marriage, it's ruined my children's lives, and so on. Heard what you said about sleep, and I figured I had nothing to lose. So I set my alarm clock, so I only got 6 hours of sleep a night. And I want you to know I didn't have one single night of depression, except for the one night my husband did forget to set the alarm clock, and I overslept, and the whole day was ruined.
So, John, you don't necessarily wake up naturally when you've had enough sleep?
You should, but not necessarily.
Sometimes it just
you can control the mood by setting that alarm.
By setting the alarm and getting up.
Now, other things you can do that are natural and very safe. Exercise.
Exercise,
makes
and that makes you have even better sleep, so you can, you can sleep better. What about the St. John's wort that we hear so much about?
St. John's wort works. It works like some of the common antidepressants. It's safe. It's effective. There's another medication called Kava. I've
heard of that.
It's not exactly. It's a rhizome that grows out of a plant in the Polynesian islands, and it's a relaxant, and it also helps. And it's been actually compared with tranquilizers and antidepressants, and it's found to be as effective. Now it's cheap. And that's one of the reasons that it may not be as popular. You don't have all the money behind it to support all the advertising and to distribute it to all the medical practices.
But you would suggest that definitely over taking a prescription drug.
I think people should try.
It
depends. Now, it depends. Now, you could be dealing with somebody who has very severe psychiatric problems, and they could be contemplating harm to themselves or others. And then you may not have time to see whether a little exercise, a little less sleep, a little kava, a little St. John's wort is going to be effective. So you're going to have to assess the situation individually, but certainly if there's not any imminent disaster, then you should try the simple things first, like not getting too much sleep. Oh, did I mention diet?
John, I can't believe you didn't start with diet.
Well, I didn't because it's very effective when you eat a healthy diet. What happens is you get more tryptophan, which is an amino acid, going into your nervous system, and the tryptophan is a precursor for a neurotransmitter. I know that's a big word, but that's a chemical in the brain called serotonin.
Oh,
You heard
We've heard of serotonin,
right.
yeah.
And so serotonin relieves depression. It also suppresses appetite, so you don't eat so much. That helps you not be depressed from getting fat. So when you eat a diet that allows serotonin to get in, and that happens to be a diet low in animal proteins, then the tryptophan gets in the nervous system and makes serotonin. So there's some effective ways. Control your sleep, get some exercise, eat a good diet, try the herbal preparations, see a psychiatrist if things are really, really
so you have to really assess
bad.
At what level you're
at. And get all the necessary help, because you don't want that cycle to spin down and get you into terrible trouble.
No, it can affect not only you, but everybody else around you. It's good to take care of yourself first.
And you only got one life to live, so you might as well live it as happy as you possibly can. And I know you do that all the time.
That's right. Now, straight ahead, we have Dr. Bruce Holb, and he'll tell us about the power of omega-3. So stay with us.
I wonder if that helps.
Maybe.
Hello. The job market is a competitive place. In today's economy, extra skills mean a better job for you. Speaking English is the skill you need for greater opportunity, more money, and a brighter future. Introducing Hello Channel, an exciting new television channel that teaches English as you watch TV. There's something for everyone, and the more you watch, the faster you'll learn. All you have to do is say hello.
We have with us a leading expert on omega-3 oils, Dr. Bruce Holb. I'm sorry I pronounced it wrong last time. Thank you for coming and welcome.
Thank you. Well, Dr. Holb, this is a hot topic. You know, fat is bad. That's what we've heard all along. And now all of a sudden, some people are saying there's certain kinds of fats that are good. Could you start out by just giving us a real brief description of what the different kinds of fats are?
Well, there are good, bad, and ugly fats, as you suggested. The saturated fats are one category.
Right.
They've been associated with increasing blood cholesterol and the risk of heart disease.
And you believe that?
At high levels they do, and they're found in full-fat dairy products and fatty meats such as pork products, etc. Then you have the monounsaturated fats.
We hear a lot about that.
Which are generally good. They're found in olive oil and canola oil, for example, and they tend to have a moderate blood cholesterol lowering effect. And finally we come into the polyunsaturated fats, of which we have the omega-6 polyunsaturates and the omega-3. And I should add that we also have the trans fats, which really don't fall into the other categories.
Those are the synthetic ones, like in margarines and shortenings.
Most of them are produced by hydrogenation of edible oils and are found in fast and processed foods.
Okay, now the vegetable oils, the omega-6, the omega-3s, are they all good, all bad? Is there a mixture in there?
Well, we consume about 15 grams a day of polyunsaturates. Almost all, over 90%, are the so-called omega-6 polyunsaturates, found in polyunsaturated oils such as corn oil, safflower oil, sunflower oil, etc. And we've been encouraged to consume these. You know, we increased our P2S, increased our polyunsaturates for 20 years now.
Less heart disease? That's the big push.
And they've been marketed as some blood cholesterol lowering and reducing the risk of heart disease. They do have a moderate blood cholesterol lowering effect. But what we didn't hear a whole lot about is that high levels of omega-6 polyunsaturates have been associated with increased risk of certain cancers, namely colorectal cancer and memory cancer, in animal and in some human studies.
So you're darned if you do, you're darned if you don't. Everything causes cancer.
No, that's not so. We were making the point that there's an excess intake
of omega-6,
and we're out of balance with respect to our small intake of the omega-3 polyunsaturates.
And where do we find omega-3s?
So tell us about that, the omega-3s, because we've heard so much about them.
Right. The omega-3 polyunsaturates are found in two main sources. In animal foods, particularly fish and fish oils.
Salmon.
Salmon is an excellent source. So the fishes in general are rich in the omega-3 polyunsaturates. But in the case of certain plant foods, you do have plant omega-3s, which are a little different than the fish omega-3s. In plants. For example, non-hydrogenated canola oil will contain about 10% of the fatty acids as omega-3, whereas your corn oils and your sunflower oils would have essentially no omega-3s.
How about flaxseed? We hear about that all the time.
Flaxseed is an excellent source. Ground flaxseed has 22% by weight omega-3, very rich source of fiber, and I'm sure you're aware of the lignans, the phytoestrogens, which may protect against estrogenic-based cancers such as mammary cancers.
Okay. Now, are you recommending that people eat the foods that have omega-3 fats in them, or are you recommending they take free oils?
Well, I think for disease prevention in normal, healthy populations, like some of us still are, the consumption of fish, for example, 2 to 3 times a week as a source of omega-3 fatty acids appears to protect against both cardiovascular disease and fatal heart attacks or myocardial infarctions. So I think that's a reasonable recommendation.
But isn't it interesting that a few years back we were told not to eat fatty fish, and now the advice has changed right around, and then other people warn us not to eat all these fish because of the pollutants. So it's
Can you help us? It is a little confusing.
It is a little
help us.
It's a little confusing. Yes, I mean we've been society in North America, particularly and elsewhere, have this great fear of cholesterol, and now their fear is in fat. So fat-free food labeling sells products.
Fat-free, yeah.
A fat-free diet is very dangerous.
If you could make one.
If you could make one. Even very low-fat diets are dangerous. I think we need to get on with the education of the public on good, bad, and ugly fats, and omega-3s are good fats.
Okay, what's the best way to get them? You know, because say I'm a little concerned about the fish, or I just don't like fish.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people
That's
don't
right. A
like
lot of
fish.
people don't like fish, and salmon.
I mean, what is the safest way to get the omega-3 fats to satisfy good nutrition without any of the downside?
Well, firstly, I would recommend fish 2 to 3 times a week, not the fried fast food type fish. We're talking your fish which is broiled or microwaved or baked, that kind of fish.
So fish should be over plant sources for you.
Certainly for me, I have no problem eating fish 2 to 3 times a week. You do raise the contempt.
And do you?
I do try and eat it 2 to 3 times a week.
Because of your research.
Because of the published science and our own research. Now, for the vegetarian who will not eat fish for whatever reason, there are alternatives. There's a little bit of omega-3 in eggs, of the fish oil type, such as the DHA omega-3.
Well, how about just go right to the plants? What kind of plants have omega-3? Isn't it true that only plants make omega-3? No fish ever made omega-3?
Well, the fish get their omega-3 through the food chain, starting with the planktons and the phytoplanktons.
Let's go to the original. Let's go to the original sources. What are some good original sources of omega-3? What good plants for omega-3s?
Good plants. I mentioned non-hydrogenated canola oil.
Okay.
Ground flaxseed or flaxseed is a good source.
Can't you just get it from the whole plant?
Well, you can
taking supplements.
You can get it from vegetables, green leafy vegetables, and a good percentage of the oil, if you'll call it that, in some of the green leafy vegetables is omega-3. But I want to quickly indicate that the fat content of plants is so very low that in absolute amounts, the omega-3 from these sources will not be very high.
So you'd have to eat lots and lots and lots of them for them to add up. So in wrapping it up, we can find them in our plants. And we can do the flax.
We can find them in fish.
And find them in fish.
Yeah.
Right.
And we eat too many omega-6s.
And
too much corn oil.
We just have to educate ourselves on what those fats
we got to start looking for more green vegetables and maybe ground flaxseed.
Ground flaxseed, canola, and fish, I think, are excellent sources.
And we got to take care of the rest of our diet and lifestyle too. Wouldn't you agree?
Totally agree with that.
Yeah, we don't want to solve unhealthy habits by just adding omega-3 fats like a lot of people are trying. I want to thank you very much. You've been a great guest.
My pleasure. Thank you.
It's a very interesting subject.
Good information for our audience.
When we continue, I'll be visiting with a real weight loss winner. You're going to love this guy.
My impression of the number 10.
I remember being in a fast food restaurant, and one 3-year-old kid just came right up to me because they love to just be honest and said, "Why are you so fat?"
Yes.
And I looked at him and said, "Because they eat little children," and he ran away, you know.
Hello, I'm Nastasia, and I'd like to introduce you to Hello Channel, the innovative new way to learn English as a second language. If you can learn English, your opportunities expand. Knowing English allows you greater job options, more money, and a better lifestyle. Here's the best part. Learning English is now easy because Hello Channel brings it right to your home. Come join our classroom, enjoy great entertainment, and improve your vocabulary, all while you watch TV. A brighter future is ahead if you'll just say hello.
Scott Dorfman is the kind of guy I like to meet. I recently had a chance to talk to him, and he was a great inspiration to me, and I know he'll be a great inspiration to you. Here he is.
I like scissors because they got a dessert bar. You know, they got that ice cream machine, you can stick your head underneath. Let's swirl around. They got the dessert toppings laid out in a row just so I can go.
And now I'd like you to meet Scott Dorfman's pants. And behind those pants, we have Scott Dorfman. Scott, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Those are pretty big pants you got there. What are we measuring there?
That's about 72 inches.
And how long ago did you fit in those?
About 5.5 years ago, actually.
And can you give me a poundage?
Sure. 560 pounds was my max.
560. And what are you weighing now?
Right now, I'm about 298, 300.
Can you give us some idea what it must be like to walk around in a body that's 2-3 times any other man-sized body? What does it feel like?
Well, it felt weird at times. I couldn't go into certain restaurants because a lot of restaurants didn't have chairs without handles. Handles were my enemy. And couldn't fit into a booth. So there were times when I had to literally walk out of restaurants and go somewhere else. I ended up going to the movies because most movie theaters didn't have seats that could accommodate me.
Airplanes?
Every once in a while, there were times when I would have to sit next to somebody else, and usually they would move after a half hour or so.
Then I get on the plane, and I look across the sea of faces already sitting down, and they're all looking at me with that same look. That look right there. I hope he's not sitting next to me! Look. You know what look I'm talking about, because you all give it.
Just to give you an idea, I do stand-up comedy also in clubs, and one of my jokes, which is not a joke, it's a true story actually, is that when I stopped eating what I used to eat, I got a letter in the mail from Pizza Hut saying, "Where have you been?" It's a true story. They sent me the letter saying, is it a money problem? Here are coupons. Was it something we said? Doing stand-up comedy, I would sometimes do a show at 1 o'clock in the morning and then go have a full meal at 1:32 at an all-night deli and then go to sleep.
Was there any particular milestone in your life where you said, look, I'm tired of the Scott Dorfman I'm looking at right now. I want to get my life back in control, lose some of this weight?
Well, when I first moved out here from back east, I'm from a good part of New York called Connecticut, in the suburbs. I first came out here, and my aunt and uncle and little 6-year-old cousin took me to Disneyland for the first time ever, and they wanted me to take my cousin onto the Dumbo ride, which is that ride that has the Dumbo elephant on the end of the arm, and you move the handle up, and it goes up, move it down, it goes down. Well, we get on this, and we're going around, and my 6-year-old cousin lifts up the handle, and Dumbo doesn't go up.
Uh-oh.
And he tries it a couple more times, and he looks at me with these big eyes, and he says, "Cousin Scotty, Dumbo won't go up." And I remember lying to him and saying, well, I think Dumbo's broken. But I really knew that Dumbo wouldn't go up because there was another Dumbo inside. I remember being in a fast food restaurant, and one 3-year-old kid just came right up to me because they love to just be honest and said, "Why are you so fat?"
Yes.
And I looked at him and said, "Because they eat little children," and he ran away. You got to get back at him somehow. But I hated being that center of attention, and it was all of that. It was the fact that I hated the way I looked. I couldn't breathe. I literally, the last year and a half of that life, I slept on a couch sitting up because I couldn't lay down because I would have crushed myself and couldn't breathe. So for the last year and a half, I put a blanket over me, put my head down, and that was it.
I tried all the different diets. I tried Weight Watchers, which actually worked. The first month I lost $112.
What did you do to lose, how many pounds has it been?
It's 262 pounds.
262 pounds. What did you do to get that 262 pounds off? And for a long time, too, which I think is real important for people to realize.
Yes, well, the first thing is, what a lot of people think, it's not over a period of 5.5 years, technically, that I lost that bulk of weight. I lost a tremendous amount of weight the first year and a half. I lost 145 pounds in 4 months. And then it gradually slowed, and I've hit major plateaus where I hadn't lost anything for a year and a half, 2 years sometimes, and little bits here and there. But I'm satisfied with what I'm doing in the sense that it's worked enough for me.
What are you doing, Scott?
I'm doing a 12-step program for food. Like an alcoholic is addicted to alcohol, I find that I'm addicted to food, and specifically 2 forms of it, sugar and white flour, which tend to set off reactions in my system. So I've joined a 12-step program for food that allows me to, I've eliminated sugar and white flour basically from my diet. I only eat 3 meals a day now, nothing in between, no fried foods, and weighed and measured amounts. And I've been able to do that, that combined with a support group of other people who've done the exact same thing has saved my life. At 560, the Richter people said don't exercise.
Okay.
Messes up their
How about
machines.
now?
But yeah, now as best I can do, I'm up to about a half hour on the treadmill. Someone said I should turn it on. I don't know what that means, but and I know if I did more exercise, the weight would definitely come off faster.
What are your plans as far as getting the extra weight off? You've got a few more pounds to lose.
Yeah. Actually, I have. It's always that last 100 pounds that's the toughest.
Yeah, we know that, Scott.
I do have almost 100 pounds to lose, and my plan is to stick to what I'm doing because it has worked for me so far.
And that's no sugar, no flour,
white flour, 3 meals a day,
a little exercise, and 3 meals a day,
and no fried foods.
Fried foods too. So you are conscious of fats.
In that way, yes. I don't need any fried foods. Everything is either baked or steamed or broiled.
Does it scare you losing more weight?
Yeah, because I've never been thin in my life. Never. I have no idea what it's going to be like.
Well, Scott Dorfman, you're a guy that's really got things under control. You're a real inspiration for our viewers. I want to thank you very much.
Well, thank you.
We'll be back in just a moment.
Hello. That's right, I said hello. I'm talking about an exciting new television channel that will change your life. My name is Ruth, and I want you to be one of the first to know about Hello Channel. Hello Channel is designed to teach you to speak English. Anyone can learn. We offer something for everyone. You'll see programming for children, teenagers, and adults, all on different levels. With Hello Channel, you'll hear, see, read, and speak English as you're watching entertaining television programs, making it easy to learn. If you've always wanted to learn English but haven't had a chance, Hello Channel is perfect for you. Start today, and remember, for a brighter future, just say hello.
Hey Dad, can you come out and shoot some hoops with me?
Busy.
Studies show that by the time I'm 12, I can be influenced by friends more than parents.
Give your family everything. Give them your time.
I ride my bike for transportation, not just for exercise. I want to go from point A to point B, I'll take my bike there.
We eat healthy food. We don't eat cheeseburgers much, do we? No. And she's a good cook, too.
And welcome back. You know, one of the things that Scott Dorfman talked about was that he was changing to a lower fat diet, and this is important. It's important that you reduce all the fats in your diet if you want to lose weight, even those good fats that Dr. Bruce Holub talked about. The fat you eat is the fat you wear, no matter what the source is. And so what I would encourage people to do is to get their fats in their natural packages. In those packages, they're safe. And I'm talking about starches, vegetables, and fruits. And be very careful about using free oils because they accumulate pretty easy, not only under the skin.
Some of them can go through, just not too many.
But they also get on the skin, and they hurt the complexion, particularly when you're in this business.
We have to remember that for anybody. We want to say thanks to both of our guests, Scott Dorfman and Dr. Bruce Holub. And we want to say goodbye to you, and we will see you next time. Thank you for being with us.
Yeah, bye-bye.
Bye-bye, everybody.
So long.